Hey everybody, welcome in if this is your first video with me. Welcome back if it is not. Either way, really excited that you're here and really thankful you've decided to spend just a little bit of your day with me today. So today is a little bit of a different video and it's going to be the first in a series. So today what I wanted to do was talk to you guys about the Disney Vacation Club, or it is commonly referred to as DVC. So this is something I have done a lot of research on and really familiarized myself with, and it took a lot of work to figure it out. They don't really make it easy. And so what I thought was I could take all the information I learned and try to make it easier for you guys if you're curious about it. If you want to learn more about Disney Vacation Club, then let's just get started, shall we? I'm Rachel, and this is Attainable Disney. Get out your notebooks, kids. This is going to be the first in a series, so we're going to call this DVC 101. So this is going to be a super high level overview of the basics, and then I'm going to make subsequent videos where we dig into like each of the aspects a little bit deeper, okay? So you may walk away from this video with more questions, but that's okay, right? Because at this point, you probably don't know what you don't know, and this may help you figure out what you don't know, and then we'll answer those questions later. Hopefully that made sense. So one of the first things I want to say is I am not a Disney Vacation Club member. It is something that is on our goal list, so it's something that Mike and I want to do. It is something that we plan to do. Our goal is before the end of the year. Is to buy into this. However, it is something that I have been looking into since my family took our trip back in 2014. If you guys have ever stayed on Disney property, you guys know when you're in the hotel room, it's always on the TV. They're always talking about the Disney Vacation Club. There's lots of stands throughout all of the hotel, throughout Disney Springs, right everywhere, talking about Disney Vacation Club. And, we were very interested. Like, we really enjoyed our trip. My dad was like, let's do it, whatever. And we started to do the research. Well, I started to do the research. For one reason or another, my parents, my family never did it. But it is something I have continued to want to do and continued to be interested in, and continued to plan to do. So while I am not currently a member, I feel knowledgeable on it. I've done tons and tons of research. What you need to know about Disney Vacation Club, or DVC. DVC is Disney's version of a timeshare. They will never ever use that word, except for where they legally have to in paperwork, but it is a timeshare. I know when people hear the word timeshare, they get scared, as you should. Lots of them are very predatory and kind of scummy. But there are some things that I think make the Disney one different. What you should know is that it is a real estate transaction. So you are buying a piece of Disney property, albeit 1 by 1 foot square, but right, it is a real estate transaction. You are not renting a hotel room. You are buying, right? You are an owner. It's a real estate deeded transaction. And that real estate transaction, so that deed, so your timeshare, lasts 50 years. So you are buying this, 1 by 1 foot square of Disney property for 50 years. Not forever, for 50 years. Well, okay, so here's the first note. It is 50 years from when the resort opened. Not 50 years from when you buy the contract, but 50 years from when the resort opened. So if there's a brand new resort and you buy into it the day that it opens, or right before it opens, as Disney usually sells it, you would have it for 50 years. If you buy into it now and the resort opened in 2004, you would only have until now to 2054, okay? So the deeds are good for 50 years. from the date that the resort opened, no matter when you buy into it. So you may buy into it and it only have 25 years left, 30 years left. It could have 48 years left, whatever. Okay? There are 15 Disney Vacation Club resort properties currently in operation, and they all pretty much opened at different times. And so each of them are going to have a different length of contract. And this is the type of thing that we'll go into sort of further detail down the line, but know that those 15 resorts, 11 of them are on Walt Disney World property. So that would be Bay Lake Tower, Boulder Ridge, Copper Creek, Animal Kingdom Lodge, Beach Club Villas, the Boardwalk, Old Key West, the Polynesian, the Riviera, Saratoga Springs, and Grand Floridian. Then there are 4 that are not on Disney World property. There's 1 on Disneyland property, and that's at the Grand Californian. And then there are some that are Disney owned and operated that are not at any theme park. So there's Aulani out in Hawaii, there's Vero Beach, and Hilton Head. So those are all beachfront resorts owned and operated by Disney, but not associated with a theme park. So when you buy a contract, you buy a contract at one of those resorts. You have to pick a resort, and that is where you buy into. That does not mean that that's the only place that you can stay. So I think what's important to know about Disney's version of a timeshare as opposed to other timeshares is that Disney's version is very, very flexible. Where I think that's sort of what scares people away from other timeshares is that they are sort of the opposite of flexible, right? They're very unflexible. They're very strict. Disney's is very flexible. So how it works is you pick a resort, you buy into that resort, and you buy a number of points. Every year you get awarded the same number of points. So if you buy 100 points every year, you're awarded the same number of points. You get 100 points to use, and you cash them in for nights in rooms at the DVC resorts. So you can use them however you want, right? If you want to take one long vacation, you can take one long vacation. If you want to do 2 or 3 smaller trips, you can do 2 or 3 smaller trips. You want to stay one short trip in a really, really big villa, 2-bedroom suite, you can do that. Right? So it's very flexible with how you want to stay, when you want to stay, and where you want to stay. So you can buy a very big contract if you have a big family and you know that every time you're going to go, you need a few rooms. You could get a big contract. If it's just, right, if it's just me and Mike, we're going to get a smaller one because most of the time it's just going to be us. Right? So you have a lot of flexibility in how you use your points. So your home resort, as it's called, right? So the one that you buy into. The main benefit of a home resort is that you can book it earlier. So the resort that you own at, you can book 11 months out, and then you can book all other resorts 7 months out. You know, I think this is of varying importance depending on where you want to stay and like when you want to go, right? If you and your family always want to go for, you know, a very specific holiday or a very popular weekend, right? If you always want to go for one of the marathon weekends, or you always want to go for Christmas, or you always want to go for New Year's, or you always want to go for, you know, a festival, right? Like if there's very specific dates that you want to go, that's going to be important, right? Because if those are popular dates, it might be difficult to find something, right? So I think the other thing that you need to know in DVC 101 is there are 2 places that you can buy contracts. So you can go direct to Disney and get a contract with them. So you can do this either like over the phone or online or on site. If you go direct through Disney, you can buy either into the Riviera or Aulani. Those are the 2 properties that they are currently selling. They will sometimes have smaller contracts at some of the older resorts. Not often or not usually, but they will sometimes. And you can call them and ask. They may have, you know, 1 or 2 smaller contracts at those. But Alani and Riviera are the ones that they are currently selling. So you can buy direct. I believe the current selling price is $210 a point for those resorts. The other place that you can get them is there is a pretty robust resale market. So 50 years is a long time for a lot of people to have a timeshare. Lots of people just sort of outgrow their contracts or don't need it anymore, don't want it anymore. Kids grow up, whatever, and they resell them. And so there's a very robust resale market where you can buy people's contracts. And so this is where that 50 years thing is important, right? Because you're going to be buying a contract, but it's not for 50 years. It's going to be for whatever is left of the 50 years. Okay? But you're going to get it at a considerable discount. I mean, you can get them for as low as, you know, $80, $90, $100 a point versus buying it direct from Disney. So you can get some pretty significant discounts by buying on the resale market. So let's review. Disney Vacation Club is a timeshare. It is a deeded real estate transaction. You are buying property, okay? You are not renting a hotel room. You are buying property. The terms of the contract are 50 years. However, it is likely that your contract will not be the full 50 years unless you buy into a resort before it opens. There are 15 resorts, 11 on Walt Disney World property, 1 at Disneyland, and 3 that are beachfront properties not on a theme park. Your home resort dictates how early you can book at that resort, but you can use your points at any resort that you would like. And you can buy your points direct from Disney, or you can buy them on the resale market. I think that's sort of the high level overview, okay? You buy points, you cash those points in for per night stays. So you can say per night or per week. They'll give you like different values. So that's why I said it's very flexible. I could use part of my points to stay for a long weekend in March, and then I could use the rest of my points to stay for a weekend in November. Or I could stay for 1 long week in June. I could do whatever I want, right? You can split it up. You don't have to go the same week that you always do, like with other timeshares, right? It's very flexible. I think the next question that people probably have is, well, how many points do I buy and where do I buy them? Those are really good questions, and those are ones that deserve a little bit more sort of unpacking, right? I don't think that they're quite that easy to answer. So I think in the next video in this series, what I'd like to do is go over the point charts so I can help you guys understand how many points you might need to stay so that you guys can decide, right? So I think that would help for you guys to understand how many points you might need per night to stay, where you want to stay, in what type of room that you want to stay in, what size room you want to stay in, and what time of year you want to stay, because all of those things are going to change the number of points that room's going to cost, right? So I think we'll go over the point charts so I can help you guys understand that, and we'll go over the different resorts so you can help think about which one is going to be right for you. So hopefully this very brief, very high level overview of the DVC program was somewhat helpful. Maybe. Like I said, it is a complicated program. It is flexible, but it is not easy to understand. But I think once you get it, you get it. And so I'm trying to make it easy for you guys. So let me know below, is this something that you guys have ever heard of? Is this something that you're interested in? Have you ever done the research yourself? Are any of you members? So just let me know kind of what your sort of understanding or knowledge base of DVC is. And let me know specifically like what questions you have, because I want to make sure that I answer them in the next video series. Okay? So, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.